Welcome to the Ian Bousfield Experience. I'm glad you're here. This series of podcasts are just things that come up in my mind when I'm thinking about playing, when I'm thinking about teaching, and general thoughts about music. There are some things here that I hope you'll find really useful. And don't forget, if you've got any comments or if there's anything you want to discuss further, go to ianbousfield.com. I'm amazingly lucky in that I absolutely love what I do. I'm 55 years old now. I started playing the trombone when I was 7. I can honestly say there's never been a single day in my life that I haven't got up in the morning and been genuinely excited about the fact that I'm going to play the trombone. Now, don't get me wrong, there's been plenty of days when I haven't wanted to go to work. But that's a different matter. You know, there have been days when I really haven't fancied playing a certain piece or I've been working too much. But there's never been a single day that I can remember when I haven't thought, yeah, I'm going to play the trombone. This is great. Someone once said to me that Charlie Vernon, the bass trombone player in the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, has never actually got over the fact that when he blows some air down the trombone, it makes a noise. I know from my own kids who have these things called P-buzzes, that childlike enthusiasm for putting air through an instrument and making a noise. And you know what? I'm not laughing at Charlie. I'm with him. I'm the same. I'm absolutely the same. You know, I get the thing out in the morning, I put it together, I blow some air down and this noise comes out. And sometimes it's quite nice. And we need that. And because, you know, it's tough. Life as a musician is tough. Having long-term projects, dealing with problems that don't seem to go away, that we're trying to deal with our technique. They're tough. So if you don't love it, if you're not enjoying it, it gets even tougher. So let's look at why we love it so much. When I take the first breath in the morning, my body smiles. It loves it. I love taking oxygen in. In fact, you can hear me now sort of yearning for it. I don't know whether I'm an oxygen junkie or something, but just that first, and all of the problems just melt away because I'm going to do what I love, which is playing the trombone. I started playing the trombone when I was 7 years old, and my dad listened to pretty much every minute's practice that I did at home between the age of 7 and 18. Of course, early on, he was very active, he was very hands-on in the process. And as time went by, he would just sit in the corner and occasionally say the odd thing. But the positivity with which he went about it was something that has carried me through the most difficult times I've ever had. He would get me to sing something, sing a hymn tune, sing it with the words, and then play it on the trombone, expressing the emotion that I'd just used to sing. And he would work on my voice, he'd work on my singing. And we'd examine the words and look at how musically we could find that part in us when we played the instrument that would express the emotion of those words. And, playing in a vocal style was not invented in Chicago in 1954. Hate to break it to you. He was teaching me what he had been taught as a kid in the 1940s, which obviously goes back, playing like you sing it's like the wheel. Who knows who invented it and when? It was a long time ago. Please don't write in and say someone knows exactly when it was written, when it was invented. But that style, and I'm absolutely not intending to do down the teaching school started by Arnold Jacobs in Chicago, of which I'm an enormous fan. I don't. But I'm just making the point that approach to playing, to teaching, was not by any means invented in the 1950s. Like I say, you can't reinvent the wheel. I think the brilliance of Arnold Jacobs, going through the Chicago School right through into Rex Martin, is they describe the wheel. They remind you of the wheel and explain to you what it's all about, which is extremely needed and is a brilliant school of teaching. Anyway, I digress. So anyway, my dad would teach me and get me to play the way I sung. And he was just, oh, that sounds fantastic. What a beautiful sound. Listen to the sound you're making. Oh, that sounds so wonderful. You're amazing. You sound really wonderful. I was 7 years old, and he was, I don't know whether it was deliberately or not, but he was programming the way that I approached the trombone for the rest of my life. Everything was totally positive. And anyone who's seen me play, you'll see when I pick up the trombone, as soon as I pick it up to play a note on the trombone, my body language changes. I'm this 7-year-old again, with this childlike enthusiasm for something that I'm going to do that's really amazing. And we can, I believe, reprogram how we think about things. As we all know, most of you listening can give me a great lesson in pedagogy, only stay with the positive, and give positive reinforcement and think about what you want to do, not what's happening. And great, you could all do that, but come on, be honest, what do you say to yourself in your head? When we do, as musicians, it's very difficult to avoid being troubleshooters. We're looking for what's wrong the whole time rather than what's good. We're looking for what we can fix. And so I'd like you to ask yourself about your very basic thought process when you're playing. Because, let's face it, we all play badly. Even I do, every now and then. And we don't say to ourselves, I've played a load of crap. We say, I am crap. I am shit. We don't say I played shit. We change the verb. And that's a very important point. We take it as a personal insult. We somehow need to get this kind of detachment. We, the whole time in our life, all of us are trying to be the best human beings we possibly can. I genuinely believe that. Not always successful, are we, I'm afraid, but we do our best. And that's our inner fiber, our inner structure. That's who we are. We're trying to be a good human being. And nothing that happens on the trombone should affect our self-worth, our self-value, our self-esteem in that way. It's very easy if you use the phrase, I am shit, rather than I played shit, excuse my language. It's very easy for that to affect your self-esteem. And so it's very, very important that we focus on what we do that is good. And part of the problem now, and I understand the problem certainly with the millennial generation, certainly in America and many places around the world, where we are all these unique, beautiful, creative individuals, and everyone in the class gets gold medals, no matter whether they came first or 30th, and we're all winners. And the problem with that, whilst I understand the positivity of it, is the first time the kid does something that they know wasn't good, and the teacher tells them it was wonderful, that kid loses trust and belief in the teacher and in the system. And they probably never believe anyone again when they say what they did was wonderful, even when perhaps what they did ultimately was wonderful. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating going back to the old school teaching method of, giving students a good telling off and telling them where they're going wrong. And no, I believe in giving pieces of advice that the student can take away, learn from, and grow. But we need to have the balance. So we make mistakes. So we screw up. So the pieces I've been trying to play for 30 years. And I'm getting there in some cases. Learning, developing is a process. It's not, you can't order your high register on Amazon and pay a little bit extra for express delivery, and it arrives at your door the next day. Or whatever it is that is your Achilles heel. We all have one. And that's the beauty of what we do, the struggle. It's what makes us realize that we're alive. That there are aspects of our playing that we probably never will fix. That doesn't matter. It's how we go about trying to fix them that counts. That's about human qualities. That's about human strength. I have issues in my playing. I'm not going to go into it now, not because I don't mind. I don't mind saying what they are, but it doesn't important. It's not important. We all have these things. And somehow, some way, every day when I get up, it's a new day, and it's a new start, and it's a clean sheet of paper. And whilst I don't obsess about those problems, I keep trying to fix them every day of my life. I keep trying to work on them by attrition. Attrition is what happens, by the way, to those non-fluent English speakers. Attrition is like a very angular, jagged rock that falls off into a stream, and over 1,000 years of being rolled around at the bottom of the stream, it gets rounded off. That's attrition. That's wearing down. You wear the problem down. You try and go at it from this angle or that angle. You try and find a way around it. And the good nature with which we go about that is the beauty. It's the beauty of what we do. I love it. I love trying to solve those problems, but we can't take it as a personal insult if we can't fix those problems. It takes away the urgency. And I go right back to what I said about the way that my father first taught me. That positivity about everything that we do. And I think that detachment from who we are and what we do is very, very important. We go in a room every day and we go and try and sharpen our tools to make ourselves the best players we possibly can be. Sometimes we're successful, sometimes we're not. But if we don't start off with that positive breath of air, because of some negative thought process, that's the famous butterfly that flaps his wings that ultimately leads to a typhoon or a tornado. Because when you're sitting in Carnegie Hall, and when you are about to play something extremely challenging, what's the thing that's going to make the difference? And it might be very difficult for you to take on board right now, but I believe the positivity that we have right at the beginning of our practice, right at the first note, the joy, the unbridled, childlike enthusiasm to make a sound on this wonderful instrument dictates how we take that first breath. And how we take that first breath dictates the way that we play, the way we practice, that ultimately leads to that beautiful solo, that beautiful, expressive solo that you play in Carnegie Hall or in the Musikverein. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. If there are any issues that you found particularly interesting, don't forget to contact me, and always go to ianbousfield.com for lots more interesting stuff.